The new parts have arrived from the factory without issue. They'll be fitted to the car in time for the next session.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Aarava here, and welcome back to part number 4 of my F1 2018 career mode. If you guys did miss any of the previous parts, be sure to go check them out. There's a full playlist and annotation at the top right to part number 3, the last episode uploaded earlier today. But we're here for the BAKU Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and thankfully you can see there briefly on that page, there we go, we're back to it. The 2 upgrades that did fail at China are now installed onto our car. So that's one bit of minor rear downforce and also a chassis weight reduction. And obviously we already purchased another engine upgrade that will come next race then, but finally now we can get away into this tree for the chassis. You can see one minor, and then we can go 3 different ways. We can go tire wear, weight redistribution, or we can go for a major weight reduction. So the chassis side, I'm really excited to kind of delve more into that tree, but at the same time also pure downforce is something our car definitely might need as well. So I'm thinking also we start off maybe with potentially just balancing out with some front downforce upgrades, but really good that we finally got these 2 upgrades on the car. And, you know, after China, we went really well without these upgrades, so I'm actually really looking forward to now having these 2 on the car for BAKU, because BAKU, obviously, if you guys know, if you've been following my channel, for the last 2 games, has not been a great circuit for me. I find it very, very awkward to drive. But I say I used to find it awkward to drive, because I think, as you'll find out later when we go to quali, yeah, I think BAKU, I don't know what it is, but this year it feels a little bit different. At least the Haas makes it feel a little bit different, and I'm looking forward to it, actually. I think we could have a decent race and a good result. So let's go ahead into practice then and see how it goes.
The track is green and the skies are grey here in Azerbaijan. Welcome, though, to the Baku City Circuit, where we're preparing to kick off the weekend's action with a difficult and damp free practice session. Now, I'd like to tell you it's bright and sunny and we're enjoying some lovely warm weather for free practice today, but unfortunately, Anthony Davidson, someone's got the weather gods in an angry mood, and I think it's going to be a damp one.
Well, don't look at me, Crofty. I was hoping for a dry session like everyone else, especially the engineers down in the pit lane. They'll be the ones with the biggest concerns, as a lot of the answers they're looking for in terms of car setup and aero balance will now have to wait until it's dry. From a driver's point of view, there's a big responsibility when driving in these conditions during a free practice session, as there's very little to gain but a lot to lose, especially if you lose control of the car and end up damaging it. And if that does happen, it can put you on the back foot for the remainder of the weekend.
We're going to be logging some extra data during this session. Nothing you need to worry about, but as we have some new parts, we'll just confirm they're performing to spec.
So here we are into practice, and actually you can see it's actually raining right now in FP1. There won't be any rain for quali or the race, so a bit of an annoying kind of useless first practice session. I think I tried to go out like early on when the rain started to dampen down a little bit, but it was still a little bit damp. And so as I went through, made a little mistake in Sector 3 on the curbing that Kimi Räikkönen had a bit of trouble with in real life in Q3, and you can see there I slammed the wall and just about survived that. But eventually it dried up for FP2 and FP3, I should say, and we're able to do the practice programs. And like I just mentioned in the intro there, yeah, this year, I don't know what it is again, but I'm feeling entirely more comfortable with the tracks that used to be a real difficulty for me. I really can't say what it is, but I don't know, it's just a good feel about it. So I think we can actually go quite well. You know, we've got a good, fast car in a straight line, and now with the downforce on the rear, I can afford to maybe drop the rear wing 1 click lower on this setup, and the chassis weight reduction is just going to overall help the handling of the car in the corners and keep it nice and light. So looking forward to quali, but before we get into that, we've got some rivalry updates.
Here you can see a list of eligible drivers to declare as your rival. The more challenging they are to beat, the more the paddock will respect you for succeeding. Just be aware, you'll lose the same amount of respect if you come off second best. So it may be wise not to be overly ambitious.
So the time has come to choose a different rival. We've got obviously always our teammate as a rival, but now in this year's game you can choose the rival that you want to have, and depending on who you choose, you'll earn a potential more reputation. You can see Carlos Sainz earns me more reputation than Stoffel Van Dorn, and also Brendan Hartley is there as a choice, but that's a bit far too easy. But in the end, I went for Carlos Sainz, because even though the game thinks potentially he's a harder rival than Van Dorn, so that's why I can earn potentially more respect if I beat Sainz. So far this season, we've definitely seen the Renaults have fallen away quite dramatically in the races compared to the qualifying pace, so I'm quite confident I can beat Carlos Sainz, unlike maybe with Magnussen, who's giving me a real tough time at the moment. But I think I can maybe pocket Sainz over the next couple of races, so we're going to choose him, and that's going to potentially get us some decent amount of reputation for the paddock, basically. But let's get into quali then and see how we do for getting on the grid.
Welcome to qualifying in the Republic of Azerbaijan. The teams are making their last-minute adjustments before the lights go green, and the fight for pole position can get underway. Now then, Anthony Davidson, you're not getting any younger, but you have been involved in your fair share of qualifying sessions in an illustrious 30-year career. How do you deal with the pressure when you have that one chance to deliver a perfect lap?
It's not so much about dealing with the pressure, it's more about how you approach the risk and just how much of it are you willing to take. You're constantly balancing the car on the edge of grip from braking, cornering and traction. And over the course of a lap, it's easy to get that balance wrong. And that's why achieving the perfect lap is almost impossible. As you say, I've been doing this 30 years now, and it never gets any easier.
Right, so straight into Q1 and then back at it again with the bad luck on the car. DRS failure, upgrades failing, and now a fuel system fault at the very start of Q1. So it means I have to sit out for 8 minutes here before I can get going again for my actual flying lap.
Okay, hope you brought something to read today. There's an issue in the fuel system. We don't think it's anything terminal, but it is going to take some time to investigate and repair.
Yeah, like I'm going to have like a newspaper at hand or something like that. I mean, that would be quite funny if they actually animated like giving me a newspaper or something to read whilst I was sat there. But anyway, finally we get out there. You can see on the top right, we've only got just over 4 minutes left of this session. So literally, they did actually put the pressure on me, basically. I've got one attempt now to get into Q2. It's a good, tidy lap, but the thing that really did it for me was here at the end. You can see through the S section and then down the long back straight. I always refer to it like a motorway highway. You can see, look at the tow I'm getting on Stoffel Van Dorn. Thank you very much, Stoffel. Gives me a nice little boost of extra speed there, flying across the line, and that will be the thing that I think makes the difference, because it wasn't a especially stunning lap, but I think that tow made all the difference. You can see how much time I've gained on Magnussen there. I don't expect to be that far ahead of him and other people on the grid when it comes to actually qualifying for our starting slot. So I think that tow definitely really helped me out, and that's unfortunately something I don't have in Q2, or there's no guarantee I'll have it for Q2. And for now, you can see on the mini-map, I've got no real cars ahead of me, so I don't think I'll be getting that. A little bit wide on that next right-hander and missed the apex exactly, but just trying to keep it off the curbs, especially more so than ever now around Baku than previous games. It's a very incredibly it's incredibly important to not get it on the curbs and just keep the momentum going of the car. You don't want to kind of go over a bump and have the car unsettled and bouncing back and down from when you just lift off in the air due to the high curbings. And so across the line, and it's only P11 right now, I want to go set another lap time, but I've left it way too late in Q2, and I don't have enough time to even go set another time. I did have the tyres for it, but I just, well, just a little bit carelessly left it a bit too late to go out on my first run in Q2, wasted a bit too much time. The only solace is, you can see there, Kevin Magnussen has also not gone very well. So, although, yes, I'll still maintain, I feel much better around Baku than I ever did in last year's game. The car is just clearly not performing very well, because Magnussen's down in P13, so I'm actually quite happy with that. Yes, we didn't get into Q3, didn't match our team objective, but I beat Kevin Magnussen there, and you know what also, we'll get a free choice of tyres from here. P11, it's actually the best place to be in many ways for this race, because I think just like China, we might be able to pull off a one stop, whereas the top runners on ultra soft tyres, they might have to go on to 2 stops. I mean, we've got a few people like Verstappen who've managed to get into Q3 on super softs, but the rest of them, they might have to do a 2 stop. So I think we might have another China race in store where we can try and work some clever strategy here. So actually, there might be a silver lining to this. So let's go to the full grid then, and the intro for the race, and then get into it.
Good afternoon and welcome to Baku. This was the arena, if you think back to 2017, of one of the most eventful races of modern history, with controversy behind the safety car, last-second overtakes, and a historic podium for Williams and for Lance Stroll. So let's find out what lies in store for us this year. It's time for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. With 20 turns and a length of 3.7 miles, Baku City Circuit in the heart of the Azerbaijan capital is a real test of a driver's endurance, patience and precision. 90-degree corners through Sector 1 lead into a tightening uphill sprint as we start to circle around the old city. Then a 1.4-mile chase flat out through Sector 3 towards the finish line. With that then, let's run through the grid order. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and starting alongside him P2 is Sebastian Vettel. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Raikkonen, Ricciardo, Valtteri Bottas and Verstappen, Perez, Alonso, Ocon and the engineer, Sainz, Leclerc, Kevin Magnussen and Van Dorn, Hulkenberg, Gasly, Sergei Sirotkin and Brendan Hartley. Stroll and Marcus Ericsson rounds off the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Right, let's be patient going into turn 1. We want to be in a good position for the rest of the race. Good luck.
So here we are on the grid, not in P11, but P10 due to Nico Hulkenberg having a penalty. And also, I only just realised there through the grid sequence that Charles Leclerc did a madness and out-qualified my teammate in the Alfa Romeo Sauber. So, very interesting grid now, and we're in the top 10, but we still have the luxury of choosing what tyre we want. And so, the one-stop is going to be on. You can see there the top strategy, super soft to soft tyre, and all the front runners, bar Verstappen, I think, will have to go with that second strategy of ultras to 2 sets of supers. And unlike China, no one can try and pull off what I did, going from ultra to the hardest compounded tyre, because the tyre we're here at Baku is seemingly a little bit higher, that the softs can't go that long. So we're in a really prime position here to do well with this one stop, and as is the entire midfield, so they're going to have to watch out, the top guys here. But then here we go, so looking forward to this, and it could be another good points all for both us fast guys. So here we go then to 5 red lights to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix here in Baku, round number 4 of the 2018 career mode. 5 red lights are out and we're underway. It is a mediocre start there. Nothing really gained or nothing lost. Alonso with a good one, though, down the inside. As we go to turn 1, though, look at that. Down the inside of me goes Leclerc. So I mentioned he had a good start, and I was a little bit worried maybe he'll have us on the straight, but he's already straight away tried to dive it down the inside of us into turn 1. We've got him back, though, as we go through turns 2. But then on the outside comes Carlos Sainz, my brand new rival. I don't know if in this game, if you choose a rival, they bump up in performance. That used to be the case in the old F1 games. Your rival always used to perform a little bit better once you chose them as your rival. So I don't know if that's the case here, but Sainz straight away is giving us a fight. Meanwhile, up ahead is still Alonso going side by side with that Force India. We've lost a bit of traction there trying to fight the Spaniard. We're still on the outside, trying to go the long way round, a bit of an off-camber corner, and then the awkward curbing there on the inside right. But we do get that. Even though we went over the curbing, we didn't lose too much time there. We're going to cut across Sainz onto the racing line and take that P10. So, like I said at the very start as well, nothing gained but nothing lost there. So let's try and push on, then try and get that Force India, because I think obviously the Force India should be good in the straights, but in the corners maybe not so much. But Leclerc doing a great job there at the moment in P12 ahead of Magnussen, just behind Sainz. But speaking of Sainz, here he comes now on the end of lap 1, and I suspect this is going to be an all-long race battle between many AI cars, because obviously like I said, it's like a motorway. The slipstream is just so OP. No matter what kind of era of cars you're driving in F1, I feel like this circuit just invites slipstream attacking. So Sainz now side by side with me yet again on lap number 2, and meanwhile behind me Magnussen and Leclerc are going to toe to toe. Here comes Leclerc for the 3 wide moment, and Leclerc's gone down the inside of Sainz. I've broken early because I don't want to get caught up in the wall on the outside there, and now Leclerc is trying to attempt a 2-man overtake on me and Sainz. Round the outside he goes, and this would be a fabulous overtake for him. I'm now looking behind me and worried about Magnussen, which is annoying. I want to be looking ahead rather than behind, but we need to be wary of Magnussen as a threat there. But Sainz just gets it back, and he's going to slow each other down there. And so I had a little bit of a sniff down the inside. Doesn't work out. Magnussen tries the pop now round the outside. We are going to have to squeeze him out there. And so at the moment, it's really just a case of every driver is trying to suss out when they can make a move when another driver is caught unaware and going a little bit slowly. And so, as I tried to do that on Sainz, Magnussen then tried to do that on me. So a bit of a domino effect here, and this is not helping any of us in terms of trying to go along in this race. And so we go on to lap number 3. Leclerc, Sainz again into turn 1. Going side by side. Magnussen has tried it equally down the inside of me. I've defended successfully, and Leclerc is still trying to pull off this move down the inside. Of course, the Sauber may have the straight line speed, but in the corner, mid-apex, that Renault is going to be a lot better. So you can see it's becoming a really equal fight here. It's great to see that they're still at it, but now here we come. DRS open, ERS also deploying on high, down the inside. Oh, that's so so close to the wall there on the left. I had to hold my breath a little bit because for a moment I thought, oh God, is Leclerc going to turn in on me and I'm going to hit the wall and lose a bit of wing or, God forbid, even a tyre there, but thankfully not, and we're up into P11, and now with some help of DRS and ERS as well, we're trying to catch up to Sainz. We can see a few people have already made pit stops now. Those are the top guys on ultra soft tyres that had to start on those ultras. They've already come in, so me and Sainz are already up into P3 and P2 respectively, so we're already in a situation like China. That Red Bull is the only top car left in the top flight, and he's leading the way at the moment though. As we try and overtake Sainz, we could be overtaking him for effectively the race lead at the moment, and so this is going to be wonderful. Here we go on the left hand side then, ERS on high, DRS wide open there, and this should be a slam dunk. I mean, under braking, the Renault might have a go. Sainz is still there, not exactly pulling away completely, and on the outside, will he try it? No, just managed to get ahead of him there, and we're up into P2. That Red Bull though is still going on, and then there's the Ferrari right behind Sainz there in the background. You saw that replay camera shot. So despite the top guys already making pit stops, actually that Ferrari is already right on the back of us maybe, so it's not exactly like China. I feel like in China there was a bit of a string out of the top guys, whereas the top guys seem to be a lot faster around here than the midfield, as it wasn't the case in China, where we could kind of all hold them up basically. And so here comes that Ferrari of Sebastian Vettel on lap number 7. He's already overtaken Sainz in the couple of laps we waited there. I almost put him into the wall, Vettel, then, because I didn't know where he was going. I wanted to take the right-hand side, and so I did so, and now he's gone on my left with DRS wide open, and he's up into what will be P1, and we are in P2 now, effectively. But if I had kept it ahead of him, I would have been in the lead for a second there, but eventually now on lap 11, we come in for our one and only pit stop here onto soft tyres. This will be Sainz follows me in, along with also, I think, one of the McLarens, I think, of Van Dorn, I want to say, so... Yeah, so our one pit stop, obviously we know the other guy's going to make another one, so we just need to keep it going, keep the pace up, but oh no, we get held up by the McLaren of Van Dorn, and Sainz now is able to jump us in the pit lane. That is so frustrating because he's also gained a bit of time, despite not just jumping us, he's actually gained a bit there because he's so much further ahead than I was of him. That's so frustrating as we now come out of the pit lane there. Leclerc is now side by side with him. He might try a little pop. He is going to try a pop down the inside, and we just about keep it ahead. And I believe Kevin Magnussen, my teammate, is ahead of Sainz now. So I've not only lost 2 positions here, I've also lost countless number of seconds just by being held up by one car of Van Dorn. And now we've got Leclerc trying a pop at me. I mean, he was, in my back pocket. He was behind Sainz, just ahead of Magnussen before the pit stops, and now we've got to worry about him. But we look at a replay of this is K-Mag making his pit stop, and just to show you where he came out. So remember, I was now at this point like 2 or 3 seconds back from Sainz already, and the way Magnussen comes out is just ahead. That is Sainz's Renault, and Magnussen is just ahead of him. So Magnussen's effectively gained 2 positions somehow in that pit stop. So I don't know, maybe the overcut's the way to go around here at Baku, but clearly, yeah, basically me and Magnussen essentially swap positions, essentially, and now we've got, oh, that's fine, that's very, very fine. Bottas down the inside of both me and Leclerc with a double pass of the Mercedes guy. Obviously, Bottas is going to have to make another pit stop this afternoon, so I'm not fast at it. I could have put up a way bigger fight on Bottas than I did there, but like the case was in China, there is no point because they're going to make another pit stop. There goes Bottas, actually, as I say it. Speak of the devil, he comes in, so we're back up that position, and so on lap 15 we're up into P6, Sainz is P5, and so Magnussen is in P4. That is the P4 that I should be in. I'm going to sound annoyed. I'm probably going to sound annoyed for the rest of this commentary in terms of the way I speak about where K-Mag is and where Sainz is, because I don't know, I'm going to be a bit salty about that because that is literally just bad luck. I can time my pit stop, but I don't know where Van Dorn is in all of that, and there's yellow flags there for some reason on the pit entry. I think there's been a bit of a kerfuffle there, but yeah, just such bad luck with Van Dorn holding us up there in the pit lane to lose us so much time in this Grand Prix. But we're going to look at a replay now. So I said there was a kerfuffle. I think I can guess. Whoa, my God! And that is the Force India spun into the pit entry, I believe. Yes, Sainz goes for a move on the left. The Force India wants to come into the pit entry, and he does, but rather forcefully, and Ocon is out of this Grand Prix. That is quite a dramatic crash, actually. If that happened in real life, that is a heart-in-mouth kind of crowd gasping kind of moment there. Meanwhile, we've got some moves now. Fantastic double overtake, that is. for the Mercedes car on the Alfa Romeo Sauber and McLaren. I think that's Hamilton, I want to say. So Hamilton making his way back through traffic. Yes, it is. Hamilton overtakes Leclerc and also Van Dorn's McLaren. Meanwhile, behind Van Dorn is the 2 Ferrari cars. So you can see all the 2-stopping top 10 guys have to legitimately make their way through all of us midfield guys trying a 1-stop. And so Hamilton's past us. We do a good job actually keeping up with him in turn 1 there. Almost a bit too good as I touch his gearbox momentarily there. But yeah, so these guys are going to have to make their way through. And I'm just hoping, for our sake, for the midfield's sake, that maybe some of us can do a good job at holding people up. Like this fight right now, you can see with the Renault and the Red Bull going at it. And this is Carlos Sainz v Max Verstappen, his old Toro Rosso teammate here. And Sainz, this is a bit personal maybe, getting the elbows out. Verstappen has yet to overtake the Renault. It's been nearly now half a lap. The Red Bull's getting stuck behind the Red Bull car. Obviously the same engine, but maybe a difference in drag. And the Renault maybe a little bit more slippery in a straight line. And Verstappen's still trying it around the outside. He should surely get this to the inside of the next corner maybe. But Sainz is doing such a mega job. Sparks flying there a little bit. But I think eventually the Red Bull will get that. But that fight is going to be really good for me, because I'm going to close up now just in the background there to Sainz. As Sainz does eventually get squeezed out, myself and Hamilton are both going to catch up to that. And so here goes, not too long after that, Hamilton down on the left-hand side of Carlos Sainz. It's a very gloomy day here in Baku, I must say. It looks like the clouds are coming over for a bit of an overcast day. Hopefully the rain stays away. But Hamilton not only going for a move on Sainz, but also, oh my god, he's done it already. The camera shot was a bit elusive there. But Hamilton has overtaken 2 of them. He's done 2 in 1, and he's got both Verstappen and Sainz. And actually that's allowed Sainz to re-attack Verstappen then into turn 2. And that means also, looking at the background there we are, back to our POV. We're P5 still, and we're closing up. We're a lot closer to Sainz now than we were just a couple of laps ago, and that's all thanks to Hamilton and Verstappen. But what a move there by Hamilton. And so the Mercedes guys, for the first time this season, I want to say, are really flexing the muscles of that engine performance they have. Because, yeah, I really didn't think he was going to get Verstappen as well, because he was quite some way down the road from where Sainz was. But now, speaking of Sainz, we're going to overtake him as we move on to lap 20. This Grand Prix has flown by. Only 6 laps left of this Grand Prix. Down the inside we go of the Spaniard there. DRS, ERS deployed. We've gone back to non-ERS to try and save that then, but we're up into P4. But at the moment, remember, I haven't even mentioned him. Kevin Magnussen, at the moment, I think, is leading the Grand Prix, or is in P2. Because remember, he was ahead of both me and Sainz. So, whilst I still battle Sainz for what is P4, Magnussen is in the position I would have been in, up in first place or second place, ahead of Hamilton and Verstappen there. So, we're still going toe-to-toe. Look at that. We've been side by side for nearly a whole half a lap there, me and Sainz. And he's still trying it around the outside. Amazing to see. We eventually, I think that will be the thing that gets it there, planting and parking the car in front before that chicane. And I think that's going to be us keeping P4 for now. But Verstappen P3, Hamilton P2. So yeah, Magnussen definitely is in P1 at the moment. He is leading the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And it's up to Hamilton and Verstappen to stop that. But that's just insane. I would have been the one leading the Grand Prix, for goodness sake, if it wasn't for Van Dorn. And now look at this. The 2 Ferraris pouncing like absolute ninjas. They both got past Sainz. We're going to brake a little bit early. Nice and easy. Oh, Raikkonen's made a bit of contact with Vettel. Controversy there for the Ferrari guys. Bit of Ferrari and Ferrari contact, but we're just trying to keep our nose out of the way, because these guys were going to overtake me either way. Didn't want to get in the middle of it. And behind us, yellow flags. And oh no, bad luck there for my rival, but good news for me. Carlos Sainz with an engine blowout there, and his Renault is going up in smokes and flames, and so that's him out of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Closing up there in the background is a train of Ricciardo, Leclerc, Van Dorn. You've also got the other Renault of Hülkenberg, and also Valtteri Bottas there in the background as well. So it's all kicking off now, but in the top 10, it is Magnussen that leads the way. Then it's Lewis Hamilton in second place. Verstappen in P3. I was P4. Now it's for Vettel in P4. Raikkonen in P5. I'm P6, which is still amazing. But I'm going to keep banging on about it. But bloody Magnussen up in first place. That's where I should be. And then you've got, as I said, a whole train of, you've got Ricciardo, Van Dorn, Leclerc, Hülkenberg, Bottas. So that's your top 10. Very weird top 10. And actually, as we go on through the Grand Prix, like I said, it's getting quite misty. I really think like it it looks like it might be raining soon, which might throw even more of a spanner into the works. But the two Ferraris going hammer and tong, Vettel and Raikkonen, you love to see it. You don't see battling like this in real life at all between Kimi and Seb. It's great to see it in the game though. Kimi trying to slipstream Vettel, try and get him back here on the right hand side. Vettel defends to the inside there. We've got green flags being waved by the marshal there for some reason. I don't know why, but there you go. And so we move now later into the Grand Prix. Then on the next lap, on the next back straight, on the main pit straight, Hamilton on Magnussen, got the slipstream. DRS, I imagine overtake or hot lap mode on ERS. And there goes Hamilton then up into first place, and he's going to lead the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And now it's a question of, we do know that in the past I've been able to defend from a Red Bull car pretty well. So can Magnussen hold on to Verstappen and hold on to P2? We'll have to see. But meanwhile, it doesn't look like he's going to be under pressure from the Ferraris, because the Ferraris are too busy still on this next lap, squabbling again in the same area of the track there. This time Vettel's the one behind Raikkonen there. And so, yeah, I think Magnussen might be helped out, you know, by the two Ferraris fighting too much, because they're still at it. And now Raikkonen's the one down the inside. Lock up from Kimi then, and Vettel almost has to get squeezed into the wall there. But that's really, really great scrapping to see. But meanwhile, behind, I talked about that train of, you know, Van Dorn, Leclerc, Hulkenberg. Here he goes, Hulkenberg trying to overtake Van Dorn then. Equally, at the same time, Van Dorn is trying to slipstream Leclerc. So Hulkenberg might have a 2-for-1 overtake here down the inside of both of them there. Leclerc trying to keep it on the outside. Van Dorn might try a cut back there on the inside. And then behind them is Valtteri Bottas sitting back with a bucket of popcorn and looking at when he can make a move on all three of them maybe. As now it's Hulkenberg, Leclerc and Van Dorn. Bottas closing up though, and you would imagine with the Mercedes pace we've seen this afternoon from Hamilton, eventually Bottas should be able to get past these guys in a flash pretty much, and he might actually try it right now around the outside of Van Dorn. Ooh, not quite. Van Dorn does a good job to squeeze him out there and defend for now. But we now move on later onto that same lap, and Bottas now is going to have a much better run here. He's going to go on the left of Van Dorn. Meanwhile, Leclerc and Hulkenberg do battle as well. Hulkenberg gets past Leclerc, but here comes Bottas here. Look at the pace of the Mercedes. Leclerc goes for an overtake on Hulkenberg, and Bottas is going to overtake both of them. And will he do it? Round the outside, Leclerc on the inside, Hulkenberg in the middle. Oh, Hulkenberg just keeps it ahead of both of them there. But Bottas gets the power down into turn 2. Lock up, double lock up from Hulkenberg, and Bottas round the outside, and he has done it. What a great move. That's 3 overtakes in the span of the main straight and just 2 turns. That's amazing stuff there. Bottas wasting no time at all. Meanwhile, finally, it's going to be Verstappen's overtake on Magnussen to get up into P2 then. So K-Mag unable to keep that going. And so now we move back to our POV. We're still just trotting along in P6, but now we've got Ricciardo for company. Lap 24, 2 laps to go in this Grand Prix. Can we defend from Ricciardo? Magnussen was unable to do it from Verstappen at the moment. Just going to hold it in medium ERS to save battery, but Ricciardo with the big Ricciardo-esque dive bomb there. Very characteristic move there from Rick Bobby himself. What a dive. I was unaware that he was going to make that kind of dive. He locks up in the next corner though, and we get it back though. Ricciardo's made a mistake. He did so well and then makes a mistake like that, so we get him back in this Grand Prix, cut across the racing line, and we're back into P6. But I got to tell you, I had like a heart attack seeing Ricciardo down my inside there. I had the ERS in medium. I was ready just to take that corner nice and easy, prepare myself for the main straight, and then he just sends it down the inside. Absolutely brilliant. So we're back up into P6 with 2 laps to go, but we're going to cut to the last lap of the Grand Prix, and look at this. Bottas in clean air is on an absolute tear, and down the inside he goes of Ricciardo, and this is a man on a mission. Bottas trying to recover from a very poor first opening stint in this race. He's up into P7 that will be, and now with only half a lap to go, nay, even just 1 sector to go, Bottas through the castle section. We run on board with him, and is he going to be able to get us as we make a little mistake there, go a little bit slow, and we've only got 1 sector left now to try and defend from Bottas. We're going to keep it on the apex now, locked into the next left hand. They're going to wait for that brake zone there that Ricciardo got us out. Oh, we don't need to! Oh my god, I think Bottas just crashed with Ricciardo. I think Bottas and Ricciardo just made contact in the last lap of the Grand Prix. What drama this is. Let's look at a replay then. Bottas, how on earth has that happened there? He tries to look around the right hand side. Oh, he's been caught off. He got caught off with some dirty air and was unable to control the car. Into the wall he goes, and that is such a dramatic last crash there with Ricciardo, because he collects him effectively from behind on the last lap of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Look at that. Oh, carnage there. for Bottas and Ricciardo. Bottas literally drags Ricciardo into the wall like a grip of death there. Going to look on board with Ricciardo. You can see clearly Bottas tries a very over-audacious move on the right, and just, I think his car got unsettled with some dirty air, and then he just couldn't take the car any more left and slams into the wall, and then he drags Ricciardo with him. So what drama this has been in the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. We're going to finish up in P6 after witnessing that double crash on the last lap of the Grand Prix. But more importantly, guys, remember, Kevin Magnussen is going to get P3 because both Ferraris were still only P4 and P5 squabbling with each other. My teammate has just slapped me in this Grand Prix. He's got a bloody podium in the 4th race of the season.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
That's it for another Grand Prix and a fantastic win for Mercedes. And I have to wonder, Anthony Davidson, just what set them apart from the competition here.
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
So as I say that, we can see the drivers coming out now to collect their trophies. It's yet more silverware to take back to their base in Brackley after another excellent Grand Prix.
I'm absolutely gone. Kevin Magnussen has got P3 at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. This is actually genuinely worrying. I'm actually being handed my arse by Kevin Magnussen at the moment this season, and it's amazing. I've never had a teammate push me this hard and beat me this badly at the very start. He's got a good leap ahead, and he's single-handedly pretty much carrying us to P3 at the moment ahead of Red Bull. Obviously, I'm helping out with P6. That matches our China result, so it's still a great day for me, but all the press and the eyes are going to be on Magnussen with the podium instead. But I'm still really happy with P6, but just well done, Baku. Well done, Baku. Well done.
Great work out there today. How do you think it went? You're breaking all expectations. What's your secret?
I'm going to be cheeky. That would be telling. Just a little tongue-in-cheek answer there.
You gained a lot of positions during the race, didn't you?
Now this one was tricky to answer because all three answers could have been kind of good, but in the end, I'm going to go with the car stuck to the track because it did genuinely feel very good out there.
You scraped the walls a few times. Were you struggling for grip?
Now this is really tricky to answer because the game's realised I've grazed the wall and it's asking me about it in a bit of a negative connotation. So I say I don't know what happened around there, and it gave me a decrease in what Haas perceived of me. So that was a little bit frustrating. That I didn't really think it was a big deal, but clearly in the game the teams care, about in terms of if you're like grazing the wall and whatnot. If you don't answer it well, apparently it's going to be a bit of a negative reaction.
Great. Well, that's everything.
So I talked about being slapped by Magnussen. Well, the teammate challenge isn't going to go any better here than today. We're still losing the rivalry, and now we're 3 points behind, 20-17 there. At least we are thoroughly beating Sainz, though. So, like I said, I think I have Sainz in my back pocket, but Magnussen, my God, we need to do better next time. The Spanish Grand Prix it is. That should be good for us. Technically could be good for Magnussen though, so I just need to pull up my socks and I need to make sure I beat him. But good signs, at least we get plus 400 R&D points because I completed my new contract perk, which was, if you guys didn't know, was I think completing practice programs. So I did that pretty easily, so an extra 400 there. But team morale a little bit down because of my interview answer. That was a little bit odd. But going to the next episode then, before we go into that, right at the end here, I'm going to purchase another chassis upgrade here, a minor chassis upgrade. And so now, once that upgrade is done, it will open us up to do either tire updates, weight redistribution, or a major chassis weight reduction. So that's why I want to go with that. It opens up the tree a little bit more. And then on the aero side, like I said, we could keep on doing rear downforce, but I feel like we need to almost maybe balance out a little bit. But at the same time, if we do another rear downforce upgrade, it just means I can run a lower rear wing then on the setup and effectively maybe get some straight line speed. But I wasn't really too sure, so you can see I'm kind of debating in my head at the moment, going back and forth and R&D tree. Unfortunately, I still couldn't do any more on the chassis side. I have to wait until this next minor upgrade comes before I can even consider that major upgrade or any of the tire upgrades. So for now, I was so undecided that I thought I'll just leave it at that, and we'll see how it goes. There's no point just wasting points on a department that I'm not completely sure about. So we'll wait until the next episode to choose any kind of new upgrades. So guys, if you have enjoyed this episode, smash that like button. Probably the craziest episode so far of the series. Just wow, just well done, BAKU. Well done. If you are new around here, do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I've been Alfa. Enjoy the rest of the day. Goodbye.